Islam rose to power quickly, continued to rise for about 800 years, then declined for about 600 years to the bottom.
In fact, the Prophet Muhammad said, and he prophesied, something that we find taking place today. He said, soon the nations will gather together to take from you in the same way that you invite people to come and share in a feast. So the companion said, O Messenger of God, is that because we are small in number? Is that because we're few? Because they imagined that the only way the enemies could come and take our lands and take our possessions and take our things is because we're too few to defend ourselves. This is how the companions imagined. We must be so few and our numbers must be so small we couldn't defend ourselves. But the Prophet ﷺ said no. He said you will be many, like the foam on the sea. Like this foam, you'll be so many. And then he said, and Allah will take the fear of you from the hearts of your enemies, meaning your enemies won't be afraid of you anymore.
النصر بيد الله سبحانه وتعالى والتمكين بيد الله سبحانه وتعالى. نحن نسأل أمام الله سبحانه وتعالى لماذا لم نقدم النصر أو لماذا ما بدأنا وفعلنا الأسباب. باقي بيد الله سبحانه وتعالى.
That as today we are 1.6 billion Muslims on the face of the earth, which is now the largest religion in the world. Like the foam on the sea. Yet what do we find? What do we find? We find that our enemies have made our lands a feast for themselves. They help ourselves to our oil, to our resources. They control us politically.
This revival, if you study history, you will see it. The strongest tide came after 1967. Before 1967, there was a lot of Arab nationalism going on in the Muslim land. Turkish nationalism, etc. After 67, we woke up and we started. For the first time, Muslims have Muslim organizations in politics, in economics, Muslim banks, Muslim media, Muslim newspapers, Muslim satellites, etc. Every area, Muslim women organization, children organization. You see this all over. This is the tide coming up.
Will democracy take shape, or will a radical Islamic caliphate soon form?
We need the army to keep Egypt from moving in the direction of an Islamic caliphate.
One word. Caliphate. 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 The caliphate is driving some. This isn't driven by the caliphate. It's caliphate. All Islamic governments would unify under a caliphate. That's a caliphate.
In civilization, we're up to the 2011. Look forward 10 years. How do you think the world will look then?
The really interesting question that we have to ponder right now is what the Middle East will look like in 10 years' time. As I said, there's a tiny possibility that could all end very happily with democracies of a Western style emerging in countries like Egypt. But I would be very surprised if that happened. And if we find ourselves living next to a restored caliphate in which radical Islam is the ideology not just of Iran but the entire region, then the world will have changed in a way that is much more threatening to the security of Europeans, including Britons, than anybody today seems to be taking seriously.
إجماع على فريضة نصب خليفة للمسلمين وسلطان للمسلمين يقيم أحكام الإسلامية.
ولذلك أدعوكم إلى هذه الفكرة أن نعلن هذا الاسم، الوحدويون الإسلاميون تحت راية الخلافة الإسلامية. الخلافة أعني بها الخلافة الراشدة،
لكنهم قالوا نريد فصلا للدين عن السياسة. الدين دين والسياسة سياسة، وهم في ذلك أيضا مخطئون، لأن السياسة إذا كانت تعني إدارة البلاد والعباد فإن القرآن جاء خصيصا لإدارة البلاد والعباد ليسوقهم إلى مرضات الله تبارك وتعالى.
الذي لا تخلف ولا تغير، وهذا وعد نبينا. بل أنا أقول لكم يا شباب الأمة أبشروا، فورب الكعبة ستقام الملحمة وسترفع راية الجهاد على أرض القدس.
وفي رمضان الذي مضى كنت أتكلم عن تقارير سياسية وعن تقارير في الأرصاد وعن أبحاث شرعية كلها تشهد بأن عصر الخلافة الجديد في الطريق.
ثم تكون حكما جبريا ما شاء الله أن تكون، ثم يرفعها الله إذا شاء أن يرفعها، ثم تكون خلافة راشدة على نهج النبوة. ثم سكت صلى الله عليه وسلم.
What is after الملك الجبري? This military kingdoms. يقول صلى الله عليه وسلم: ثم تكون خلافة على منهاج النبوة. There shall come after that a khilafah similar to Abu Bakr wa Umar wa Uthman wa Ali. A khilafah, he described that khilafah ala minhaj al-nubuwah, and he describes this one khilafah ala minhaj al-nubuwah, a khilafah according to the path of the prophets.